Hi friends, Andrea here, and this is gonna be another stamp cleaning video. I showed some of these stamps in there are two different recent haul videos for these stamps. Most of these stamps, these ones were in a haul video, the same haul video with a bunch of other stuff that I got at the scrap reuse store. And then these two were also part of a smaller video that I went to the scrap reuse store, my first time going to the scrap reuse store. So I figured I'd just combine all the stamps and the stamp cleaning from the scrap reuse store, since there was only two from one haul video and the rest were from the other. And we're just gonna go ahead and get to cleaning. So the things that I have for my cleaning are, I have this Staz On all-purpose stamp cleaner. I think I've posted this in another couple of videos, and the reason why I like this product is that this particular one has this kind of foam applicator. It's pretty dirty. I think the last time I used it, I did not clean it off very well. What I don't have with me right now, which I probably should be using instead of what I have, which is a paper towel. A used paper towel, by the way, that I used for eating, and then like folded it, and I don't even think it got dirty, but it's, you know, that's what I have. And then this stamp cleaning liquid, or I don't know if I want to call it a solvent, but it is great for cleaning off hard to remove dyes, because it's meant for use with Staz On ink, which is kind of a permanent ink. It's really good for cleaning old stamps that have dye stains, and just getting them a little bit more pretty and in better shape. So I'm going to use that. And then I do also have this, my Recollections stamp cleaner. This is really grimy because I used it to clean off a whole bunch of secondhand stamps, and I'm hoping that it doesn't leave more residue in the stamps than it is removing, but we'll give it a try. I'm going to start with the dirtiest stamps first. So I'm going to start with this one, this Feliz Navidad. And I'm just going to apply my Staz On. And sometimes I do this, I'll do multiple coats. I'll just clean it and then go over it again. And it does seem to loosen up the old ink. You can see just applying it, I'm starting to see, maybe it's just me, but I'm starting to see some ink movement. So I'm going to leave it on there for a little bit, and then I'll scrub it. So I'm just going to leave that on actually for a little while, and then I'll start with this one. I have a feeling this blue is going to come off, so I'll take some bets. I have a feeling most of it will come off. Black is harder to get off, but it really just depends on how old, like how long ago the ink was there and how long it's been sitting and stuff like that. In my experience, the longer the ink is sat, the more it's saturated into the rubber and the harder it is to get out. But this ink looks like it is moving a bit, so we will see. I think my dauber, yeah, my dauber is picking up some of that blue. I had a feeling it would. So I'm going to let that one sit for a little while as well. And then I'm going to try this one. And this one is May You Find Comfort in Your Loving Memories. I noticed when I did the haul video for this one that it had a lot of ink on it, but I had a feeling that this ink would come off pretty easily. So we will find out. And already it looks like some ink is coming off just with that little daubing. So put that one up there. Oh, you might not be able to see it, but that's where that one is. This one has almost no ink on it, so I'll probably save that one for last. I'm going to try this one. And it is a little inky on the sides. I know in one of my videos I went ahead and put some of this ink remover on the sides, but it didn't make that much of a difference. What I found made a tiny little bit of difference was I put them under the sink with some dish soap and a toothbrush, and that worked pretty good to get a little tiny amount of the ink out. but it's permanently stained, so I don't really think it's worth bothering with that if I'm gonna already know that when I'm done with this, I'm gonna take it down to my sink and clean it. I don't need to waste my ink cleaner on the sides because it'll be cleaned off separately. So this one is the pigs. It just says hogs and kisses, and it is really tough. It has got these really deep areas on the stamp, so not that I really need to get in there because there's not any ink in there, but it's hard to get there. So I want to just make sure it's saturated. This one I think might be the easiest to clean off. I'm going to do this one next. It's got a lot of gold ink. It looks like gold ink on it, and there's a lot of writing, and I feel like this one would be really difficult to re-stamp if part of your ink didn't stick to the stamp or, you know, didn't take. So if you don't have a stamp positioning tool that is not for cling stamps but is for rubber stamps, then it would be difficult to restamp this and get it just right, especially with gold ink. I feel like with black ink you'd have better chances, but this gold ink might not come off, and I'm not sure what to expect here, so I'm gonna try, but it does not look like it's coming off. I'm gonna saturate it and just do the best that I can, and it might need two takes, because when I saw this at the store, it wasn't sticky or anything. It was dried, but I just could tell that this one, the ink was really not gonna come off. I tried in the store licking my thumb and like rubbing it, because sometimes that does take off like water-based inks a little bit, and I just wanted to try and see if it was a pigment-based ink or a dye-based ink or what, because you don't know until you start doing this. So a little tiny bit of ink seems to have come off. I'm gonna leave this just set, and then I will put some ink remover on this. I feel like this doesn't need much, but I will go ahead and do it anyway. It does look like it's been used, it just doesn't look like it's seen heavy use. And whoever used it, maybe they took good care of it and cleaned it when they were done. Or maybe it just sat in somebody's drawer and collected a little bit of dust or something. I don't know, but I'll just let that one sit. Oh, I'm trying to put it down on top of the lid. Then I'm going to do this one. And then once these have had a chance to soak for a little bit, I will go ahead and scrub them on my scrubbing pad. And like I said, if I don't get a lot of ink off the first time, I might do a second try. This one doesn't look like it's gotten a lot of use either, so I don't think it needs to get a deep wipe down. And then the last one is this Dollar Tree stamp. I'm not really sure how good, I'm not sure if this is even rubber. Oh, wow, the ink is really moving. So it's coming off. I don't know what kind of ink was used, but it feels like it's not rubber. Or if it is rubber, it's like really poor quality rubber. I don't know how to explain that to you, but the rubber does not look or feel like any of the other red rubber stamps. So I don't know what it is that is on there. But it looks like this is coming right off, like immediately it's coming off. So that's good. But, oops. We will see how that one takes. So I'm going to just, before I cap this, I'm just going to wipe off some of the color so you can see, yeah, quite a lot of ink came off. That is normal, but I'm just going to cover it up. Ideally, you don't want to deposit more color onto your clean stamp by cleaning it. So I'm going to start with this one. This is the first one that I put the product onto, and I'm just going to scrub it on this scrub pad. I apologize because this is going to make the video bounce a tiny bit because it's on the same table. Okay. It did remove some, but it's not coming off very easily. So this, I'm guessing, if I had to guess, either this ink has been on here for a long time or it is a permanent ink. And it could be both. So I'm just going to go and give it another coat and let it sit. And I will move on to the next one that I have here. This is this one. This one, I think we might see some removal right away. Oh yeah, I can see it coming off on the pad. It's changing color to kind of a blue. But not a lot. I mean, not as much as like clean, all the way clean. But some is coming off. Let's try giving it a second coat. That was just the first pass. Okay. And then if I do a second coat or a second pass and it doesn't come out, I think I'll stop using this because I only have 2 ounces of this and I don't want to just keep on. I'll probably just take it to the sink and give it a little scrub there. So I think I'm going to do this one next. I feel like the ink is really moving on this one. I don't know if you can see that, but it looks like it's ready to come off, or some of it might come off. Okay, I got some ink gone, but I do feel like it needs another try. Oh wow, like the second I put my second coat on, it seems like the ink that's kind of caked on or really in there started to move around. So that's good. That's exciting. You like to see that. So we'll set that for here. I think I'm gonna clean this one next. We'll see. My Hugs and Kisses stamp. Okay, it does look a little cleaner, but it wasn't too dirty to begin with. It wasn't terribly so. So it could just be, now that it's clean, it's depositing ink from the pad, from the cleaner pad onto this. So we'll see. This is one of the stamps that I think will do well or do better when it is scrubbed in the sink, because it's not that dirty, but it has a lot of little details. I don't know if you can see like these little lines and the words, that there's a lot of legibility that needs to happen here. It's a lot different than, you know, a stamp that is like this, where there's not, I mean, if one of these lines didn't come out right, it wouldn't matter that much. So I'm gonna try cleaning this one since I'm talking about it. I think that looks pretty good. I can tell that it's some colors being deposited on it because of the stamp pad. So I will just wipe that off a little bit. And since I mean, normally if I was just working on my desk and I was gonna clean and reuse the stamp like right away, I probably wouldn't wipe it with a paper towel because fibers will come off from my paper towel. I would use a microfiber cloth instead, like a glasses cleaner or a dedicated like stamp chamois or microfiber cloth. But I'm gonna be taking this one to my sink anyways and cleaning it, so all of these ones are gonna go to my sink and get a little scrub, a little spa day, if you will. So it does look like this stamp is fairly clean. I'm gonna call that one ready. And then I think this one too is also gonna be in like the ready to be cleaned phase. This one doesn't have a lot of ink in it, so I'm just gonna clean it. Probably just clean it the one time. that looks pretty good. I don't see a lot of ink on it, so I'm going to call it good. I'm going to put it face to face with the other one. And these two are still simmering, and this one, so I guess I will try this one. There's not a whole, like, the ink is moving on it. I think you can kind of see that. So we'll see. We'll give it a try. Yeah, it still has some grime. Like, it definitely still has some ink, especially on the edges. Like, that ink isn't coming out, and like on the inside that ink is not coming out. But I'll give it another pass with the ink cleaning, and then after this clean attempt I will take it to the sink. And I don't really have a good way to film over my sink, so you probably not get to go with me on that journey. But most of the time the stamps are like, once they're cleaned with the stamp cleaner, they're probably as clean as they're gonna get. It's just a matter of making sure that there's no like just grime. Like, for example, there's a lot of grime in here. And getting any ink out of the foam parts is kind of important to me. And then sometimes there's like little chunks of like dried ink that get tucked into the little narrow crevice parts, and it's easy to scrub out with a toothbrush. So I like to go back over it with the toothbrush and the soap and just make sure that it's all the way clean. And then, you know, I kind of take the toothbrush all along the sides of everything and just make sure it's all the way clean. So that did a great job of removing. Again, sorry about the bouncing. I know that's not ideal, but that did a really good job of getting that ink out. I'm going to try one more pass. It doesn't seem like it needed a lot. Like, it was moving immediately after I applied the ink cleaner. But that's really exciting for a dollar store stamp. That's great to see that much ink come out. And it already looks a lot better. It obviously never gonna look brand new again, but it looks a lot better. So I'm gonna put that aside. Let's try this Feliz Navidad again. I feel like leaving it on there and letting it sit maybe helps it break down some of the dye or the ink that's the pigment that's on it. But sometimes the pigment just it stains and it never comes out. So don't expect miracles. That is a lot better, I think. Oh, there's a piece of glitter. We don't want that. Sometimes glitter will scratch the stamp surface, so I don't want that to happen. But I think I'm gonna do one more pass, and I'm gonna let it sit, because this is a lot better than it was before. At the very least, I'm not gonna be able to get all the way into these little narrow areas. That I'll need the toothbrush for that, but at least I'm starting to break it up a little, you know, and the ink is starting to come off, so that's good. That's promising. And then, you know, a few more passes, a few more scrubs, getting in there will hopefully remove some of that. So I'm gonna leave it just aside. This one, I put it aside and let it sit, and I haven't given it a second pass yet. So I'm gonna just try cleaning it. This is kind of big. It doesn't fit on here very well. There are 2 pieces of glitter on here that I do not want to get out of my stamps. I have a feeling that there's not going to be much ink removed from this one. I feel like metallic inks really stay put. It seems like it's better. What do you think? Is it better? I feel like it's a little bit better, but it's still got room for improvement. So let's give it a second pass. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time trying to clean this really intricate stamp with my stamp cleaning fluid, because I just feel like there's so many little crevices that the fluid is going to get stuck into that it's not going to be a good like a good value of a good payoff or return on my investment of using this fluid, if that makes sense. So, but we'll just give it a good scrub. Yeah. And I'll let it sit. I'll let it sit over here for a second. I'm gonna go back and do this one. I think I let this one sit for a little while. It's better, but it's definitely still got a lot of color of that blue. I feel like it could, it's almost there. Like it just needs a scrub in the sink and then it can go. It can be pretty much gone. But I think it's always going to have a little bit of staining right here, and right here, and maybe right here. It just probably will never get all the way clean like it is right here and on the insides there. So that's fine. I'm going to leave it to sit for a little while and I'm going to clean this one. I think this one is, there's a lot of chance that this one will be well cleaned when I can get into those crevices with my toothbrush. It got a little dirty from the grime now that's in the stamp cleaning platform. I might have to go through and clean this off a little bit. Ugh, got a lot of ink in there now. It might be time to rinse this out. This, you can actually take the pad out. I don't want to take it all the way out, but you can take the pad out and replace it. You see that? Or rinse it. So it might be time. It might just be too saturated with ink to effectively scrub out and remove. But I think it's done a pretty good job. Most of the ink that I was seeing between is gone, and most of the, it's just a little bit on the edges and a few little spots there and right there. So I would say this one, this is going in my pile of like, it just needs a pass with the toothbrush. And then I'm gonna try this one. This is its last pass. I think you can see that the ink is really moved a lot and there's been a lot of removal, but I think it's as far as I can get it with this stamp cleaner. Yeah, this is getting really grimy now. I'm dyeing my wood block. That's okay. It's this wood block looks like it's already an unstained piece of wood. So it doesn't have a sealant or anything to prevent that color from depositing onto the wood. I think this is as close as I'm gonna get to clean for this particular stamp, other than, again, taking it to the sink. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the pile to clean, and then I will return to my Feliz Navidad. This one, I think these inner pieces are just not going to be possible to get clean without a toothbrush. So I'm just going to go one more time. Usually circular motions are really helpful. And when I do scrub it with a toothbrush, I also use kind of circular motions with the little toothbrush and the dish soap. But it doesn't feel like I'm getting much more out of those inner crevices. So I think this is as good as I'm going to get for now. But there is a lot of ink removed. I mean, just from before and after, it's great. It's really in good shape. I think I'm going to save this one for last. So I'm going to do this one next. Some of that blue I just don't think is going to come out. So it is just the way it is. We shall see. You know, sometimes just giving it 2 washes in the sink with dish soap and scrubbing it helps tremendously. But I think I've taken it as far as I can take it with this stamp cleaner. This seems like a really nice quality stamp, but it does need some more ink is needing to be removed. But once it's cleaned all the way in the sink, I think this is gonna look really good for how much ink was on it before. And same thing for all of these, really. The only stamp that didn't have much ink on it to begin with was that poinsettia stamp. It just had other, like, it had some glitter in it, and it just looked like a little bit used, gently used, so I just figured I'd clean it along with the other ones. I think this is as far as I'm going to get this one. Yeah. There's definitely some staining right here and a little bit on the edges and like in between all the letters. That's going to just be impossible to get out. But I think we're as far as we can go with all of those. So we're just down to the last one, which is this wedding stamp. I really want to be able to get more of the gold off. I feel like a lot of the gold is gone from the letters, from the tops of the letters. There's a few spots where some gold is still, but there's still a lot of gold on the edges. And I don't know if it's going to come off. Well, it's starting to, so that's good. That's promising. Maybe with a dedicated toothbrush, it'll come right out. But it's probably going to take quite a lot of scrubbing to get all the little crevices and letters out, cleaned out. And I think it's time for this thing to be cleaned, like just rinsed under the sink. And if you have I would say if you have a sink and you're just worried about staining or anything like that, I would maybe rinse it out outside or like in a stainless steel kind of sink. Your porcelain sink shouldn't stain, but like if you have nice towels and like countertops and stuff that you don't want to get spill ink on or dye on, that might not be the best place. So maybe outside or a bowl, like a plastic container, like a reusable to-go container, and just fill it with dish soap and water and scrub it inside that little bowl might be better, just because you don't want to make a total mess and ruin your stuff. But I am blessed in that I have a place that I can clean. I don't know if you can see this, but like right here I can see that there's some ink, like it's sort of trapped in the letter S there. And that's what I am hoping to get out with some scrubbing in the sink. I have a great sink that I can use. It's easy to clean, and I never have trouble with staining, so that's what I'm gonna use. But if you're worried, they also do sell like those kind of plastic, what are they called? Like they're dish washing stations, I guess. They're plastic tubs that you can just do all your dishwashing in if you don't want to do it in the sink. So you could do something like that, or like a big Sterilite tub just, you know, not too hot of water. You don't want to ruin the glue on your stamps, for one. And for two, you know, you don't want to melt anything, but generally I don't do super hot water. I just do warm water, and then I use, like I said, the dish soap and the toothbrush. A gentle, soft bristle toothbrush is great. I wouldn't go anything beyond like a gentle rub, a gentle scrub. I just do multiple scrubs. Put I put a little bit of dish soap on my toothbrush, like as if you're putting toothpaste on your toothbrush. Not as much as you would do toothpaste, but just a little pump. I have it in a little pump bottle. And then I start scrubbing it with water and try to remove as much of the gunk as I can. My first pass, rinse it off, and then set it aside, go to the next, do all my little babies, and then come back to the ones that need a little bit more attention. Like, you know, there's some gold ink in between these letters that needs to be scrubbed. And I might go, when the second pass removes more, I might come back a third pass, and just each pass I'll focus a little bit on one particular area and see how far I get with that. Because if I feel like, okay, I got stuff out of here, so it should be possible to get it out of here or out of here, then I will just keep on going and doing a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more until I'm satisfied, basically. But this is already gray, and then the ink on it is gold, so I feel like it's kind of hard to see with the naked eye, like where the ink is. So it might be easier to see that when it's wet, or when it's been scrubbed a few times and it's like really clean. Like, you can see this layer right here has some gold ink. It comes off and it looks brown. But there's been ink on those edges for who knows how long, and it'll probably be really easy to just pull that ink off with a gentle scrub. So I'll give it a try. I can't promise you that I'll show you the after effects, but I thought I would just show you what it looks like to clean these stamps, and how, I mean, all of these stamps look 10 times better than they started. So they all, like, especially this Feliz Navidad, it was just black. The whole thing was black. So that is way better. This one was covered in blue ink, and it's a lot better now. You can see more of the red ink underneath. This one had a lot of blue ink staining on it, and then these two had some blue and some black looking ink on them. This one didn't have much. I think it had some like pale pink in the insides, but again, what I'll say is, with this stamp cleaner, I feel like it conditions my stamps as well. And scrubbing them in the sink, cleaning them, conditioning them, making sure that they don't have any residues on them anymore that would eat away at the rubber or, you know, cause any damage. I don't know what those residues would be, because I bought them secondhand and I don't know how they were stored or where they were for how long they were there. So that's why I kind of try to take care of them so that they can last as long as possible under my care. And I want to be able to really get a good impression the first time I use them, because I'm not going to just buy them, start inking them up, and get who knows what in my stamp pad, and then that transfers onto other things. So they're just going to start a fresh new life in my home. They're going to be cleaned. They're going to be ready to stamp and give good impressions. And then I'll be able to get the very most value out of them for my investment. So it is a little bit of time. Yeah, it took me like 30 minutes to come down here and do this, and it'll probably take me another 30 minutes to scrub them. But, you know, for the value of my enjoyment of these over the lifetime of owning them, and the quality of stamping and card making that I get from them, it's worth it for me to do this upfront investment of time. So anyway, I hope that you have a great rest of your day. I hope this video was helpful or informative. And if you have any questions about the stamps or the products or other things like that. I'll do my best to answer them. This is just my way of doing things. Um, I'm not the most tidy or crafty, creative person here with like knowing everything that you're supposed to use for cleaning your stamps, but this is what works, what I've found to work and is reasonable. I think this stamp cleaner at Joann Fabrics is like $5. You can probably get it with a coupon and get it even cheaper, or Michael's maybe, or online stores get it with a coupon. It should be $5. Should last you a long time. I have one that I've had since like, I think I bought it in 2009 and then I just ran out of it, so I had to buy a new one. I wasn't stamping every day of my life the whole time, but it cleaned up many a stamp. I only recently started buying stamps secondhand because of my feelings on ethical consumption and rubber, and you can look into that if you're interested. I don't want to make a video about it because I'm not really an expert or an authority on the subject, but it's just what feels right to me. And so because of that, I decided I prefer rubber stamps. I prefer the way they stamp over cling stamps, the polymer cling stamps. I do have some. I do have a lot of polymer cling stamps, but I've found that when I purchase them, I'm purchasing them at the big box craft stores. I'm not buying them at little mom and pop scrapbooking stores. I'm buying them and not thinking about what I'm going to do with them. I'm buying them and the quality of them is poor because they're really cheap, so I'm not satisfied with the stamps that I get. And I feel like I generally only use them with my MISTI tool, like my stamp positioning tool. So they're limited in application. Whereas like this, I might be able to use this on a canvas bag, and stamp it with some ink or, some fabric paint or something like that. So there are other things that I could do with these. So anyway, I'm rambling now, but I hope that this inspires you to start looking in other places for the things that you like to use in your craft hobbies, whatever those may be, and that you start checking out your local reuse centers, your secondhand stores, your buy nothing groups. All of these stamps I got from my scrap reuse store. There's stores like that all over the country in the US. I'm sure there are some like that in other countries as well. So just ask around, or do a craft swap with your neighbors or with your friends, with your communities, and see if you can get some fun new things without having to spend any money. I think that's a really great way to give new life to products that you're bored with and you're not really using, and get something that's new to you. Even though this is not brand new and it's a little dirty, that's not going to stop me from getting a lot of use out of it. I bet you I'll make like hundreds of cards with these. So I'm excited. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.